Good evening, Goblin here. I thought I'd do something a little different tonight and engage you in one of my adored personal pastimes, obsessions, really, which is combing through the print media on archive.org, also known as the Internet Archive. There are thousands, probably, old UFO magazines, newsletters, journals, and this is where I get the material that I read in my UFO radio series. So tonight, I have clipped a couple of magazine articles to share with you from two different 1997 issues of UFO Times. As the cover says, UFO Times is a Bufora publication, and Bufora stands for the British UFO Research Association. It was formed in 1962 and is still active today. At the front of the magazine, they list their aims as the following. Number 1, to encourage, promote, and conduct unbiased scientific research of unidentified flying object phenomena throughout the United Kingdom. Number 2, to collect and disseminate evidence and data relating to UFOs. And number 3, to coordinate UFO research throughout the United Kingdom and cooperate with others engaged in such research throughout the world. Now, I'm not going to read it cover to cover. I'm just going to pick out a couple things for now that I found to be intriguing. These are available for free on the Internet Archive if you want to go and read it in its entirety. First, we are going to peek inside issue number 44 from January 1997 and take a look at a section called Investigations Diary, which says, "The intensity of UFO sightings and experiences are still at an all-time high due to the relentless coverage by the media on the mysterious universe in which we live. Therefore, the Bufora Investigations Network has been busy investigating the many and varied sighting reports coming in, and Bufora RICs have been keeping up to date with events in their areas, as well as administering the PTC, Postal Training Course." So, taking a look at this investigations diary, let's read the section on cases in Scotland. Scotland has certainly been the center of activity since September, with video footage captured at dawn on September 27th by Margaret Ross in central Scotland. The Aberdeen Press and Journal reports that she looked out of her bedroom window at 6 a.m. when she observed the object, which was stationary in the sky. But the footage shows a snowball-like pulsating object in the morning sky. Venus, of course, has been brilliant in the morning sky, and it would be interesting to know what Miss Ross observed with her naked eye. The handheld camcorder lens will zoom in and go out of focus, giving various shapes and movements to bright planets. Alright, so this particular footage got quite a bit of press attention at the time and was covered by different media outlets for the next couple years and seemed to really impress experts at the time. Let's watch a bit of this fabulous 1998 news broadcast from Scotland Today.
Grandmother who's left UFO experts baffled after filming what she claims is a flying saucer. Margaret Ross's 40-minute video shows a mystery object hurtling across the dawn skies. Specialist investigators are now analysing the tape and say it's the best UFO footage ever shot. Liz Monaghan reports.
It may sound incredible, but 63-year-old Margaret Ross is convinced UFOs are hovering over Falkirk. The mother of 4 couldn't believe her eyes when she spotted the pulsating bright light in the skies above her home. Grabbing her camcorder, she stood amazed, filming the mystery object for over half an hour.
It went into a crest shape, and from a sort of crest shape to a half-moon shape. And it would stay like that for a wee while, and then it would just go into obscurity, you saw nothing. And see, it appeared to get smaller and smaller and smaller until it just poof into a ball.
It may not look much, but Mrs. Ross's film has put UFO enthusiasts in a spin. It's the latest in a series of weird sightings in the skies above Falkirk, and while there's no panic on the streets yet, experts are advising everyone to keep an open mind.
Spaceship or not, this shining light in the sky has certainly caused a bit of a stir. And who knows, maybe this is the shape of things to come.
Alright, doesn't really look like much to me. I've never really gotten too into UFO footage, but here's the thing. It's so hard to capture good footage of things in the sky on your camera. Even really nice cameras that we have today. I mean, cell phones, iPhones have really, really nice cameras. And have you ever been in the situation where, say, you go outside and the moon is really, really big and really beautiful and you want to take a picture of it? You go to do that and it looks like nothing. So, I'm not saying that she didn't see something. I'm just saying it's kind of hard to get a good sense of what she actually saw. Going back to the investigations diary in the magazine, it says, further video footage has been captured by a couple on the 16th of October, traveling from Hallglen, Falkirk, when they observed an unusual object, which they photographed with their camcorder. They described the object as white and stationary. It then appeared to change shape and become an orange color before turning white and vanishing from the sky. This footage has been shown on GMTV and Sky News and is now undergoing analysis. Hopefully, we shall learn more about the results of this analysis at a later date. Unfortunately, I was not able to find that particular footage, but it is interesting that it also took place in Falkirk, the same town where the Margaret Ross footage was taken. So let's finish up with the investigation sections from Scotland. To conclude on some of the occurrences in Scotland, I would like to include a brief synopsis of a strange incident in Dundee. This incident occurred in Fife when on the 25th of September 1996, a lady, her friend, and son were traveling in a car and observed a triangular-shaped object hovering and banking towards them. They drove home to tell friends about this sighting and went back to the same spot where they observed lights emanating from the nearby forest. Through binoculars, they claimed to have watched 3 different types of beings who appeared to be collecting something in boxes. They described them as having large heads, dark eyes, and appearing fragile. Others they describe as appearing half as tall as the trees. When these creatures became aware they were being watched, they began walking towards the people. The lady involved has been traumatized by these events and also has some kind of physical injuries on her neck and elsewhere. She had been to see a doctor about this. There are several other aspects to this report, but at the moment, an investigation is underway. Very interesting. I mean, I always get very intrigued when there are mentions of beings or some type of entity that is seen. So that is a very interesting report, although it's terrible to hear that the woman involved was traumatized and injured. Now we're going to move over to the October 1997 issue of UFO Times and take a look at the section regarding case investigations. This extraordinary case took place in Shropshire, 1996. During the night of the 14th into the 15th of December, Mrs. F's young daughter awoke in the early hours of the morning. This had been occurring on a regular basis for a while, and after putting her daughter back to bed, she returned at about 4 a.m. to her own bed and fell asleep beside her husband. She recalls a very vivid dream that she had lost her purse and found it in a telephone box. She then heard a voice which said, "Something is coming," and was aware of a rushing noise and awoke from this dream. Although wide awake, she felt she was unable to move and was surrounded by a buzzing, feeling as though it was electrical, but it was not painful. She was lying on her side and tried to move towards her husband when she noticed red and blue lights, about 20 in total, which appeared to be emanating from outside her window. She was still trying to awaken her husband, but could not talk, and as she tried to lean over him to reach the light switch, she found a great deal of resistance, as though everything was in slow motion. Suddenly, she heard a loud bang and found herself lying on her back, but had no recollection of moving to that position. The feeling of being unable to move had gone, and everything appeared to be back to normal. As she lay there, she was suddenly aware of an image in front of her. The image was of a square or rectangular object, black in color, with what she described as white teeth. She was then aware of a further image, which appeared to be of an entity with facial features of large black oval eyes, slanting slightly to the nose. Mrs. F did not feel threatened by this, and for some reason recalls that she felt as though she was observing it through her right eye. She then shouted to her husband to turn on the light. He awoke and did this, and the image disappeared. He checked the house, but found nothing out of place, and returned to bed, turning off the light. At this point, Mrs. F saw the image again, but less vividly, as though it was fading. She then told her husband of this unusual experience. Her perception of this experience is that she feels the image was an image left on her retina during the period that she could not recall, from when she was trying to lean towards her bedroom light and when she heard the bang and found herself lying on her back on the bed. She interprets this experience as being real and feels that it was a positive experience for her. Very, very interesting reports. I am glad that the witness felt positively about the experience because to me it sounds pretty intense and frightening. She did include a drawing of the entity she saw with the large black eyes. I will show that to you now. I have to admit, she's a little bit spooky at first glance, but she is smiling and seemed to perhaps have put Mrs. F at ease. So this image of this woman with this face, she feels like it was left on her eye after seeing something, and then it seems like she kind of had a moment of missing time or something, or kind of a blackout when she tried to turn on her bedroom lights, and then suddenly she found herself lying on her back. So I know exactly what she's talking about, or what's described. I can't remember the name of this, I'll put it on the screen, but when you look at something like, say you look at your TV screen, and then you look to the side of it, and that image is still like on your eye, and you can kind of see it hovering there in your field of vision, or if you close your eye, then you can see the white outline of your TV screen or something like that. An interesting detail to me was that the experience began by Mrs. F having a dream where she was led to a telephone booth, and then she heard a voice that told her something is coming. The telephone booth, it's a very overt symbol initiating communication and the delivery of a message. That's kind of interesting. Pretty direct symbology. Lots of interesting details to that account. And you do have to wonder if what was causing Mrs. F's daughter to wake up in the middle of the night was related in some way to this. There are lots of other interesting reports and articles in just these two magazines that I didn't get to. I just wanted to do a little short video and see what people think. So that's all we're going to look at for tonight, but let me know what you think and if you enjoyed this. I love looking through these magazines, so I'm going to be doing it anyway. So let me know if you want me to share my findings. In the meantime, if you do like UFO case reports, like I mentioned earlier, I have a series called UFO Radio, where I look over reports from old MUFON journals, and that's in a long-form, audio-only format. And you can find those here on YouTube in a dedicated playlist that I made. But for now, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Take care, and I'll see you soon.